platforms, and yet someone is saying, do you people know that you are not on Radio Garden? Okay. Our technical boss is called Vincent. He knows something is being done about it, right? He knows. Ndu?
Yes.
We're talking about money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, lunch yesterday with Judith, it happened.
Do you see why you
and she
claim
said,
to be my friend, but I don't understand.
And she said
that
she is, I gave her your email. Check your email. You're going to get a personal invitation to lunch with Standard Chartered Bank.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for real.
Okay.
For real. You're wealthy enough. You don't need.
No, it's all right.
Excuse me, please.
While we're on that conversation,
no, please, sorry, City. You know the problem when he makes such those
proclamations.
Yes. Okay.
He's talking to. He said biggest conversation. Everybody has heard you.
Yes. So if Judith doesn't invite you for lunch,
sir.
You know what this man is saying makes sense, and I'll tell you why. And this is not gender discrimination.
Here we go.
I'm just explaining.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that call that I told you I received?
Yes,
I went to Standard Chartered headquarters yesterday.
Headquarters?
Yes, well, that's where the priority place is. And we had a very long conversation. Mm-hmm. Those people are not in a hurry to talk to you. They take time, they listen to you, they give you tea, they give you water, even biscuit.
Even biscuit.
I don't really particularly like biscuits, but they were there. I'm simply saying that when they say they will do certain things, they actually do it.
Okay.
Yes, so it's not some tall yarn that somebody has spun. No.
You will receive a call and an email from Judith.
Okay.
You don't need to write to wealth.ke@sc.com. Right? We've jumped.
Jumped to the process.
So you ate steak yesterday.
Yeah.
Now they'll do you one better.
We're talking about priority banking with Standard Chartered Bank.
So for everybody else, what you do need to do is you need to send an email, wealth.kenya@sc.com. What do you do with those extra coins that you have and you're not quite sure? Do I invest? Where do I invest it? Do I put it on the global market? Do I put it locally? Can I invest in Kenya shillings? Can I do it in USD, Euro, Pound, etc., etc.? All of those questions and much more will be answered when you send that email. You see, you send an email, but then they will call you and they will say, come, let's sit down and have a conversation about what you can do for today, tomorrow, and forever.
Kuja Chizungumuze. We've also been talking about this holiday season, and there are several shows that you can watch on Showmax. Yeah, even on your mobile device for as low as 300 shillings. And one of those shows is a good one. It's called what? Black and Blue. It's a Black and Blue. Very good. So Black and Blue is about, we'll be told, the people who are here will tell us what it is all about. Abdi Shuria is the co-director of this particular show, and Andrew Nganga Kimani is in the cast. Andrew?
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm feeling fresh.
What are you?
Mimi ni Karao, Gen Z. I'm the fresh recruit. And I'm a fresh blood. I represent the spirit of the Gen Z: fearless, freedom, leaderless.
Kwa hiyo police service.
So police service, I bring that spirit. But essentially, I play the role of Glenn Kioko, a new recruit who's really excited to join the task force. And his expectations are not met. And the reality has actually hit him. Ameingia place yenye hakuwa expect.
Ameguza ground.
Ameroka kiganjo sasa.
Very good.
Yeah.
Abdi, you are co-director of this particular show. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
You'll tell us about it. You'll tell us how you actually got into thinking of doing this show, and how you got into the show, and how you got people like Andrew to come and act. And later we'll be joined by Hilary Mwangi Wamete, who's also on the cast of this. But as we welcome you, City has a message for you, and this first, it starts with a positive message, which is how you can walk into Woolworths and get something for free.
It began the other day, like most stories begin, but it continues until the 2nd of December. You're a director, you understand this. That is how I've introduced the topic. But what you need to do to ensure that this period of time is beneficial to you, you need to go to any Woolworths outlet. They are saying for every 3 items you want to purchase, you will only pay for 2, 1 will be free. Now, If you don't particularly like clothes, well, why don't you just go to the store and see what else they offer? You most certainly will have loved ones. You'll have people you want to gift. But to make the experience complete, simply visit a Woolworths outlet and look at what they have on offer. But let me remind you again, buy 3, you only pay for 2. 1 is free.
And is you now rocking that on Friday and say, well, that thing that, no, it's limited. It ends on the 2nd of December, which is Monday.
Yes, don't go there on Christmas Day asking them for the deal.
that discount thing.
December.
Yeah, it ends on the 2th
Yes.
of December. City,
Yes, please.
please give them the day's proverb.
Our proverbs for the whole of this week have been, well, from the kingdom of Eswatini. Kingdom. Not kingdom of Kenya, Eswatini. A runaway monk never speaks well of his monastery.
Say again.
A runaway monk never speaks well of his monastery.
Okay. Abdi, when you listen to that proverb, what do you think it says?
I have absolutely no idea, actually. I don't even know where to begin, to be honest. A runaway monk. Sorry, just repeat it again one more time.
Have no fear.
Okay.
Repeat it. A runaway monk never speaks well of his monastery.
Okay. Andrew, do you want to give it a go?
Yeah.
All right.
A runaway monk doesn't speak well of his monastery. My interpretation will be, a traitor will always be a traitor.
This man took that role of policeman seriously.
I mean, if he left a monastery, which is an institution where, spiritual guidance is there, everything is fresh, everything is clean, why would you speak ill of such a place? So you are the problem.
Unasikia? Kwa nini unapinga serikali? Serikali inachunga wewe.
Shida ni wewe.
I really like his answer. So
It's a black and blue answer, yeah.
Well, that's a really, really good interpretation.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Once a traitor, always a traitor. Even by the time he was joining the monastery, he was a traitor.
Of color.
Yeah. Who you are?
He's a narcissist.
Hey,
Sorry, nimeachia hapo.
this
Nimeachia
monk.
hapo. This particular monk, is special.
Hakuna shida.
Ako na kasoro.
Abdi, what is Black and Blue about?
So, Black and Blue is a comedy show. It's a mockumentary.
What?
A mockumentary. So this is basically a hybrid of a comedy show that looks like a documentary. So the idea is, of course, it's fiction, but it's supposed to look and feel like it's reality. And it's satire and, mockumentary. That's what it is.
Right. So what is it about?
So it is basically, about an idea of what if a civilian was put in charge of a Kenyan police station and becomes the OCS. What would happen to an individual, a civilian, once he's, given this power, this control, this authority? Who do they become? What do they do?
And if the civilian is an activist,
Exactly.
what then happens?
Right.
What got you to this point? What inspired you to get into Black and Blue?
So I think I draw a lot of humor from tragedy. And, just from lived experience, sometimes you have interactions with law enforcement, and sometimes, it just leaves you questioning. You're like, okay. But, for me, I'm always, trying to look at the brighter side of things. And, there's always that idea of, what if you're stopped and you ask for tea? Huh? But your chai. And what if I had a thermos with me?
Actually give you tea.
The idea just stemmed from interactions like that. And
Actually, that's an idea for City. You know, he always walks around with
City always
tea.
has a service or something.
So if cops tell you, "Mzee, si tuachie chai,"
Chai,
just get
literally.
into the bag.
Patie.
Kuna kikombe.
Kuna mtu angependa soda hapa.
Exactly.
Ama chai dawa.
So that's where the idea came from. And, I've had the opportunity to work on other shows like XYZ in the past. So comedy and satire was something that I was really interested in, and always looking to, do my own show and find my own voice in production. So about, I think 3 years ago, I shot a pilot. I was like, okay, I can't just let this be an idea. So got some friends together, we wrote a script. We found talented actors like Andrew, like Hillary. And, we shot the pilot and we presented it to Showmax. It took some time, but, I have to give a lot of credit to them because they really believe in local talent. And they've really, over the years, they've really elevated local talent and given local talent the opportunity to produce local content. So kudos to them.
That's great. I think it does a lot. It tells a lot about then, the local scene and what we don't say for art and what it's able to do. So we wanted to look into the storyline just a little bit because I think that there's some, lines there. The very fact that you can take an ordinary citizen and say, okay, how about you come and not just be an ordinary officer, but be the OCS in a police station, right? So what are some of the, because obviously whether we like to admit it or not, there's a political undertones here, isn't it? And then with what happens with police officers, what happens with the police service sometimes, also an opportunity to probably shine some light on some of the good aspects of the police service, isn't it?
Correct.
So what are some of these tones or themes that came out as you shot this, as you acted in it, that then can become, things that we can see?
So maybe before I let Andrew step in, so I think one of the biggest or major themes for this show is community. It's about these police officers being misfits, but finding a community amongst themselves and learning to work together as a unit, as friends, as colleagues, as a family, because it's all about doing good at the end of the day. The show is not necessarily there to bash or criticize them.
It's mocking them, though. So go on.
But it's there to be wholesome, to just spread this concept of togetherness. And despite all odds, people can work together and find a solution, maybe through their unique way.
From an actor's perspective, the role made us humanize the police. It made us understand what they really go through. The public opinion is polisi ni wabaya. Kuna wale wabaya, kuna wale wazuri. But this show made us understand that these people are human at the end of the day. And they have personal issues that they're fighting. And the show also highlighted how even the citizen have a share in the misfits and everything, because these are people coming to report to a police station all the ills that are happening in the society. So it's a platform that is now showing that on the other end, muko na ubaya pia nyinyi, na ndio maana hiyo ubaya yenu mnaicheka because you can see yourself. Right?
You get it.
Sanaa ni kioo cha jamii. So we can't do anything that's not happening in the society. So we are just reflecting what's happening in the society and all these things that are happening and making people understand that there's a police force that really needs to do their job. And you as a citizen, you also have a role to play to help them finish their job. So there's a lot of, like Abdi has mentioned, community, understanding the role of each individual, and also the mental issues they face, because huko ndani makarao wanalia, kuna karao wameachwa. He's crying, identity issues, all these things. So it has really explored the whole humane aspect of the police sector.
Andrew, what do you do for a living? What's your background?
Well, I'm an artist. I've been an actor all my life. I'm an actor, filmmaker, and a social activist. I run community-based organization called Maktaba Yetu, that we use art to push consciousness in the society. I hail from Udhero, Yesagi, Kabete constituency. So I grew up in a society that ilikuwa messed, like for a while. And it really gave me that urge to speak for the people that are left behind. Tunaishi nao mtaa. Because kama Kabete, alcoholism imetumaliza.
Kusema messed, what do you mean?
In the sense of people don't have hope.
Why?
Where do we start? No opportunities. I think it's a strategically curated system yenye imeweka watu wakuwe slaves, one of the system and themselves, because people can think beyond what they see in the society, like alcoholism, mental issues. People don't want to think beyond what they see, like beyond the echo chamber of the society. So we use art to empower communities, to show them that yes, they can make it. It's bigger beyond what you see, because now as actors tukipata na watu mtawake inaweza taka kuact. Everybody is an actor when you meet it. Do you know ukipata mahali watu wanalia hapo niite watapenda juu nikianza kulia mtu wangu mashida nikikumbuka mashida. So we really want to explore them, want them explore opportunities beyond what they've been taught and created to think.
That's very interesting that you say that. And I think for both of you here is that, when we look at very many countries around the world, and what they've been able to use art to do as a filler in society, but then not just a filler, but as a mainstream source for whether it is sources of employment, sources for expression, sources for governance, tools. You talk about seeing humor in tragedy. And I think about places of conflict whereby they used things like art and sports to be able to divert the destruction that conflict brought about, right? And I think that there's a place for it that we do not give enough importance, and that we do not place enough in terms of what can actually come out of this sector for nation, for individuals, for diverting from alcoholism that you talk about, that you can have victory over vice. So when you do, and I think there's also a place where it's just entertainment. It doesn't have to always be the heavy stuff that let's talk about, let's do a satire about what can actually be, what the police service ought to be. It can just be entertainment, can't it? But then I think there's many roles that it can play. How do you see, and I think for both of you, that this particular sector can actually birth something that maybe folks have not really considered?
I need some time to think about that one. That's a very, very interesting question. What are your thoughts on that, Andrew?
We need to leverage on the power of art, and art is a communication tool that bypasses everything. Apart from Black and Blue, there's a show we do in Inoro, a telenovela. It is centered around the ills in the society. So my mother akona Ben 10, alifukuza mzae ndio baki na mali, So when
what is a Ben 10?
Ben 10. Now Ben 10 is how do I put it in?
It's an Andrew.
It's an Andrew.
It's an Andrew who
it's like
with somebody your age.
Yeah.
So the mother is a younger man, a toy boy.
Yeah, a toy boy on the show. Yeah. So
on the show, not real life.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
So the themes that we depict on that particular series, for me, I thought it was just acting until I met people, and people are like, "Hey, hata mama yangu alikuwa hivyo." So we really underestimate what acting and storylines really do, but it's not just entertainment. So with your question, I feel if you can empower more actors, conscious actors, because right now we have a hypersexualized content system.
True.
Like everything has to go back to, and it doesn't make sense. And we are failing to understand that the generation we are raising are watching us. So once they are grown, this is what they'll meet. But if you can channel resources to people like Abdi, you know, who understand what they're doing and they're doing for the better of the community. I believe we can spread this message far and wide, and we can also capitalize on the economic revenue that will bring, because unaona kama hizo za mtaani watoto wakipaint and the kids paint, the youth paint, the paints are sold. You know, the music being used for other purposes. So if you can really empower people who are really doing the right job, I believe you can do a lot for the great nation using art.
You know, art is therapeutic.
It is. It is.
If you look at the entire diversity of it and what it does to a person, what a movie does for you. If you're looking at, say, something that has been visually drawn, what it does for you. If you're listening to music, what it does for you. You're spot on. And it looks like this is one of those things that we missed out on. We focused on the politics and we forgot the healing power of art.
It was deliberate. Because also art raises the nation's consciousness.
Yes, it does.
True. And
Yes, it
because
does.
of that, the political powers that be do not want to support the kind of, did not want to support that kind of art. You just ask yourself, why is it that Kenya, we are so good at, knowing all the Lingala songs? We do not know our own songs.
No.
So suppressed. The KBC would not play Kenyan musicians. They'd keep playing for us. The Lingala musicians.
Even Kenyan films, you know.
Even Kenyan film.
Nigerians are more famous in
Just
Kenya.
to suppress that consciousness. So then when people like you, Abdi, come up and, you're thinking and you're saying, just based off my personal experience, I can create something that brings in a conversation, but at the same time entertains people. But it may have an effect. The impact of it would be raising some consciousness. But maybe when you look at the police, they actually also have a life. They also are going through the ups and downs. Karawa ameachwa, ataoga rudi soko, anarudi soko saa ngapi na ako job, right? All those kind of things that you're asking yourself. You need support, like Andrew is saying. What does it take for you? What did it take for you to sit and think, mockumentary? Look for Kina Andrew. Tell them, let's do a pilot. Go to Showmax. Tell Showmax here. Showmax tell you,
We'll cut it back to you.
cheers man. Wacha. Kuna zingine hapa, tunaangalia tutakuongelesha. What does it take?
Of course, it's a lot of work. And I think for me personally, I just have this burning desire. I need an outlet. Like Andrew said, he's an artist. I feel like an artist as well. And for me, I think more than anything, I just want to share with people. I don't know if I'll get an audience. I think that's the biggest fear every artist has, whether they'll actually find an audience. I don't know. I have a lot of anxiety about what I make and what I produce.
Why do you have anxiety?
I think that's every filmmaker's greatest fear.
Achilles heel.
Yeah, you just like, I have this idea, but I think it's good.
You want it to
Will
be
other
accepted.
people
I
think
want
so?
it to be good. I want people to like it, but will other people like it?
Will they resonate with your initial thought?
Exactly. And when people do resonate with it, it's really satisfying. It's a real high.
Surely, as an artist. You people don't understand public participation? Or do you wait for the public participation when the production is already out? Surely, you must have a think tank. You must have, I know you do have people you bounce ideas off.
Of course,
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I do. But
I'm still on that anxiety issue.
I think the people I still bounce my ideas off, I have to ask
You're
myself,
still
am
anxious.
I in an echo chamber? Am I hearing, are they telling me what I
truth?
want to hear? But I think you just have to be brave. You just have to put yourself out there. You just have to, be willing to let other people give you feedback, complete strangers, people who have no connection with you, and, just hope for the best.
Indeed. Let's take a break, 27 minutes to 9. And this is kudos, yes, indeed, to Showmax. Very, very many, very, very good shows that have been produced and they've aired on Showmax. And that's the support that Showmax has actually had. Many of them are winning the Kalasha Awards all the time. I mean, you just go into Kalashas and it's shows that have been supported by Showmax and they are winning this. One of them is Black and Blue. It should win the next ones, right?
Sure.
Make sure you submit in all the categories. This one has the black actor, best black actor category, best short actor category, best thing
Best of the
actor
best. Best of it.
best Gen Z category, best bearded director category. Put them all in there. Black and Blue is showing on Showmax, and you can get Showmax for as little as how much?
300 shillings a month.
300 bob. And you can watch it. You don't have to have a big screen called a TV. You can watch it on your screen called a telephone. It's a smartphone, right?
Yes, you can.
All you need is a data bundles.
And you're good to go.
300 bob. Log on to your Showmax. Watch Black and Blue. That matatu ride from wherever to wherever. Episode done. Like that. All right. Our guest this morning, Abdi Shuria, is a co-director, Black and Blue. You wrote the script, did you?
No. I worked with
You
a team already.
conceptualized.
I conceptualized.
Right.
I was in the writer's room for all the storylines.
You were just saying, and then someone else is just writing.
No. It's a very vicious writer's room.
You'll tell us about it. And on that show, you'll see a cop called Glenn Kyoko. Glenn is here. His name is Andrew Nganga Kamani.
Yeah.
And he's the Gen Z cop who's just come out of Kiganjo. Coming out at Mimini Karao. Now he gets there. What? Anashikwa. 25 to 9. Back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Thank you very much, Eric.
You saved
Sit and do you headhunt?
That's what we did. We did auditions, and you put the scripts out there. You see many different people read for the role, but then there's just that one guy. There's just that one
There cannot
lady,
be
one
two
guy
Hillarys.
that just pops in, and you're like, yeah, well, this is the person. And I think such a large part of directing is finding that person. And then when you find that talent, I barely have to do anything. I'm just take the script. Let's go. Shoot. You're the character now. I just tweak. I just nudge you here. I just do this. I just do that. But it all happens in the casting room. Yeah.
So, Officer Kibet is a bad guy, right, Ndu?
Totally.
Yeah? Is he a good guy or a bad guy?
See, this is the thing, though. Isn't it very confusing? Because then you say, what's great acting, right?
Unajua ni vibaya kuongelea ofisa akiwa hapa. Unauliza direct.
So if somebody has a role that's supposed to be antagonistic, yeah, and they're able to play that role so much so that you who is watching, you're like, this guy rubs me the wrong. Actually, that guy's doing a fantastic job because he's playing his role the way he's supposed to, right? So then for you, I mean, my God, we don't like you.
I know. Thank you very much.
So,
That's a plus.
Exactly. It's weird because that's actually a compliment in the acting because you've done what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So when you're playing this role, what are you thinking? How are you portraying? What are you thinking at that point? Are you thinking, this is actually how police officers act in Kenya? Or are you thinking, no, I got a role to play, let me just play? What is it? Or do the two come together?
We say acting is a reflection of the society.
Yeah.
And at some point you've met an officer who has had a bad day in office, and you know how they can handle you. So I'm that cop. I don't care whether you are on the right or whether you're on the wrong. I still have to be the officer. I have to be the bigger person.
I can see it even now.
I have to ask the question: Do police men and women have good days? Because you're talking about somebody who's had a bad day in the office.
But most of them.
What's a good day in the office for a cop?
Yeah, exactly.
It's an off day.
Do you have to spend time with police officers, with friends who are police officers, to understand their psyche, to understand what they go through, for you to bring it out? Or do you just sit back and say, I have interacted with cops, I have seen cops being depicted in various other shows, and I will pick this and go with it?
Actually, my story is kind of interesting. When I was young, when everybody was saying, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a pilot, I said I want to be a cop. And the teachers were like, Nini mbaya na huyu kijana? So later, I came to interact with police. Actually, many of my friends are police officers. So I have an inside idea of how...
A front row seat.
Yes. So, and I've had a rough experience with police. Like I've been arrested like several times, so I know how
Your friends don't tell you usibebe hii kitu.
sasa. Unajua sasa
Ukishikwa na hii kitu utalala ndani.
kuna vitu hamwezi ongea. kuna vitu hata kama ni rafiki, kuna vitu unaweka chini.
Did you ever try to be a cop?
Yes, I did. When I finished Form 4, my father gave me fare to Moranga. They were conducting recruitment at Ihora Stadium. I never went. I
Took the fare,
realized,
lakini?
yeah, in that time, nilikula fare. That time is when Al-Shabaab was like
Was Al-Shabaab.
yeah, so nikajiambia haki ya Mungu hapa naenda kukula risasi. Na hii zile sasa hii si acting. Hii nitakula pamba. So nikaenda nikaambia mzazi because I knew how the insights. Nikajua mimi mguu yangu ni flat. So nikaenda nikaambia mzazi wamenikataa.
Niko na flat foot.
Niko na flat foot. Buta haitaingia. So that's how.
But you actually never went to Ihora Stadium.
I never went.
But you're the one who had made him believe
Yes.
that for me to help you fulfill your dream,
Yeah.
let me give you fare to go for this recruitment exercise.
Nilirealize ni utoto nilikuwa nayo.
After umeshika fare ama kabla
Nimeshika fare nikarealize hii fare thao naweza enda nicheze pool
nikule ngapi?
Yeah. Na nililimwa. So
Ulipoteza.
nililose mara mbili. Karao.
So how did you get into acting?
I got into acting when I finished Form 4 and went to Pangani Art Center. That's where I started doing set books. So we did the Kifo Kisimani, Enemy of the People, Shreds of Tenderness. So that's where the journey began. Then joined the Kenya National Theatre. We did traveling theatre. And then I started featuring in few roles on TV. Then I started landing on main roles, which I have now majored on until today. Yes.
Hillary, I'm interested because here your father thought, and I think this now plays out into what some of the things that we're talking about earlier when you came in, before you came in.
Yeah.
So you hear your father thought, you're going to be a police officer because that is what you had said, and in his mind, probably serious thing, my son, police officer, right? And then here you are doing traveling theatre, where in the minds of many, okay, come on, okay, he's gonna do it and then he'll get over it, right? We'll do something else. It must have been two totally different worlds for him. Did you hear from him his opinion when you were doing this, and obviously then became successful? Because it is clear. I mean, for anybody who's going to watch Black and Blue, it is clear that you're good at what you do.
Sure.
What was his reaction, if any?
Thank God for flat feet.
Yeah.
Our culture, we don't have a man talk with your dad. It's very rare. But when I mentioned to him that I will not be able to join the Kenya police, he told me that I should go back to school because my grades were not they were not good. So that's when I thought, now is my time to chart my career and chart my future. Now it's me against the world. Now my dad, you've done your job. Wacha niende nipambane na dunia. Nimefunzwa na mama, wacha sasa zinifuzwe na ulimwengu. So that's why I started doing the traveling theatre. And they're not paying. So mzae thought ukirudi basi umerudi na pesa. But ukirudi after a week unamuomba fare kwenda rehearsal. So recently is when he came to realize actually now huyu jamaa ako kazi. You know art. Unaambia huyu mtu anafanya mambo ya vitimbi. It's not vioja hii mambo ya kuchekesha. It's not really considered as work. Yeah. So until utume kitu nyumbani, kitu substantial, si fair. So they realize, wow, this guy is working.
Yeah.
So then they start to appreciate you. And
do you think then, and also for Abdi, do you think then that's what then starts to break this mentality? That when you see that there's some kind of economic value, some kind of social standing, that recognition, that's when it starts to break down this idea that art is not a serious thing, that it cannot, it cannot it cannot stand on the same pedestal like these other careers or whatever, a banker or doctor, whatever. Do you think that when you start to see that it pays, when you start to see that people are established, that's when it becomes almost real? I mean, it sounds almost mean to say it, but that's the reality, isn't it?
Definitely, in our society and in our culture in Africa, for sure, art is something that has always been looked down upon, not considered serious, but there's a lot of potential in it. And, a lot of people can have careers, and I think you're 100% right. Once there is that evidence of financial gain, it also brings, when you do work, there's that structure, there's that discipline. You have to be on set on time. There's that routine. You have to carry and conduct yourself in a certain way. So I think it's it's a character building. And once people see all of that, then they're like, oh, this thing is serious. This thing, there is potential. There is something here.
Sure. Abdi, what's your story?
My story.
How did you end up here in filmmaking?
I've always been passionate about filming. I think for me, the person I contribute to setting me on this journey is my father. He was a photographer when he was in university, and he gave me his old film camera when I was a teenager, still in high school. And I would just tinker with that, develop my own photos. And then from, that old school photography to Photoshop. Someone introduced me to Photoshop. Then I was like, what? You can manipulate photos? And then from manipulating photos, someone introduced me to a video editing software. And I was like, what? Moving pictures. And I can tell people to do this and they do it. And then, of course, I've always been a film head. I've always loved filmmaking. I've always loved stories, listening to them, consuming them, and telling them. So I feel like it's something that just came very natural to me.
When people watch a show such as this one, Black and Blue, they don't know what goes on behind this whole production. So let's start from that point. You conceptualized it. So take us to the journey of actually getting a pilot done, or even beyond the pilot, a couple of episodes, season 1 being shot. How does it move from your head to script, from script to the cast?
So in filmmaking, you can never do it by yourself. You have to have a team that you can rely on, that you can work with to achieve the goal. So, of course, it starts off by, the idea. You get the writers, you get into a room and you write, and you be very mean with each other. There's nothing like, oh, that's a great idea. And, with the comedy, if we're not laughing, it's not working. And I think it's a very quick process to find out if an idea is good or not. If I'm not laughing, I'm not laughing.
That's
if
it.
Let's move on.
Maybe you're having a bad day.
I don't know. maybe, but I think when you surround yourself with the right people, you know that you're getting, authentic and genuine feedback. So from writing, you write the script, and then you move to casting.
How is the script written? So do you write every word that's going to be said by every character?
Ideally, yes.
Do you also write the what actions?
Yep.
And
So it's like writing a play.
Pretty much everything. You write, CT walked in, sat down, told the proverbs today, everything. You have to be very detail oriented.
Really?
And then you leave, I'd say, you try to put 90% down on paper and leave 10% or maybe 20% for now the actor, the artist, to now do their thing. Because you can micromanage, and he's a professional, he's an artist.
Right.
I also have to respect his craft, his insight, his take on the character. And that's why I've selected him. Because I can't envision Kibet as much as he's thought about this character in a way I can't. And he's brought him to life.
And when you're directing, and so you've got Kibet right there, and this is a certain scene, must he go by the script? Or is he allowed to ad-lib everything as long as the point has come out?
For me, my approach is with comedy especially, I'm very flexible. We're not really rigid to the script. we're more rigid to the idea. Is the idea funny? And sometimes, we get to set and, you read it and you're like, what is this? You toss it. And you're like, okay, let's figure something out on the spot.
Okay.
And, you bounce off each other.
Then the guys at Showmax, when you take to them, this is a pilot, and this is accompanied by the script, what do they do?
Same process. They're very critical. They're very harsh. And if they don't laugh,
So there's a committee on that other end.
Yeah, they watch, they read, and they tell you, hey, there's potential here. Hey, there's no potential here. And, they have a lot of data, they have a lot of experience, so they know what they're talking about. And, you have to respect their opinion because it's just not one person who's just saying, it's multiple people who have to review it. So they'll tell you, correct here, do this, that, and it's all for the greater good of the show to produce something good, yeah.
Are there some scripts that you would see, Hillary, that you wouldn't take?
Of course.
Why?
Kuna script inaweza kuwa imeandikwa a certain scene that you're not comfortable, like act naked. Would I?
Would you?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
What if they tell you there's a body double?
There's a body
Double. There's someone else who's gonna do the naked part. As long as they're not shown as you, you're not going to be the naked guy.
I know, but you'll see I was a naked guy.
When we are watching.
Yes, you'll see the naked guy. Yeah, unajua ni mimi. So I think there are roles that you limit yourself. As an artist, there's a way you want to appeal to your audience, and there are things you can say no to because then they'll change the perception that you don't want to put out there.
It raises the question: are there certain roles that you enjoy or you prefer to others?
Not really.
Why?
Actually, I prefer a role that I'm not comfortable in, so that I can be able to put work into.
So you can broaden your horizon and broaden your scope.
Yes. Yeah, but of course they are favorite roles that you when you see the role you're like let me ask the question differently.
Amen. Do you like the roles where you're portrayed as a good guy, or do you prefer the roles where you're portrayed as a bad guy?
Good guys don't really end up well, so I'd rather start with bad guys who end up really good well.
So with Black and Blue,
yes.
What are you hoping? I mean, obviously you're hoping that more folks will come out and watch it. I mean, you can do that on Showmax,
yes.
But what are you hoping will be achieved with the show from an artist's point of view?
What I'm hoping to be achieved is that the people realize the other side of a police officer. Like you have a civilian OCS. Like this civilian OCS is bringing the mind of a Kenyan, like a typical Kenyan, to the table. Some may work, some may not work. So at the end of the day, the goal here is to not view the police. There are good policemen out here. I'm sure you can mention a few. There are those who are dedicated to what the cause. But so at the end of the day, I hope the show has the balance of the raya, the police. Police in binadamu. Yes.
What about for you, Abdi?
For me, of course I want to entertain people. I want to make people escape just for a bit, to blow off some steam, to laugh, to be like, yes, I relate to that scenario. Yes, I can see myself in there. And just for a moment, just forget their worries and go somewhere else and then just enjoy.
Is it paying?
Is it paying?
Yeah.
It's a very tricky question to answer.
Is film paying in Kenya?
That's the third time Abdi you said. Is that how you avoid answering a question directly?
Maybe.
There's the answer.
But I think in some cases it pays. In some cases you just do it because it's passion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a passion project. But if you look at the film industry, in Kenya, maybe how long have you been in this industry? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20?
I'd say maybe like around from 2010.
All right, so 14 years. So in those 14 years, have you seen changes?
Yeah, I've seen drastic changes. Definitely the industry has grown. It's become something that you can actually make a living from. It does pay, but I think we still have a long way to go. It's still a very small industry. It still has its flaws, and there's still a lot of room for improvement. But from what I've seen over the years is that it's moving forward in the right direction. Slowly but surely.
So there's something that's happening in this space.
Yeah.
Okay. And for you, Hilary, do you think it's...
Yeah, I think from what Abdi has said, art is a talent. It's a God-given talent. So you develop it into passion. Then later on, it's work.
Yeah.
So something that can pay your bills, like do most of your daily thing. That is work. So I think it's paying. Only just a little more push from now ideas like Abdi Sababu. You find many a times that ideas are not taken well in zapata mapi Showmax ifike mahali sema hii kipindi imeenda. So hivyo ndio tumefutwa na tumerudi mashambani.
Right.
Yeah.
So, just in 30 seconds,
Yes.
who would you want to say thank you to for where you are at right now?
First of all, I'd like to thank God because He's the utmost power. The next person I want to thank is me for pushing myself.
Very good. Very well said, Abdi.
I'd say, of course, my family. Of course, Showmax for giving me the opportunity to produce this show, and all the friends and colleagues that have been with me along the journey. Yeah.
Right. Yep. So go ahead, watch it, Black and Blue on Showmax. We've been having a conversation with the co-director Abdi Shuria. We also had Hilary Mwangi Wamete, who acts as Kibet. Earlier we had Andrew Kimani, who is Glenn Kyoko in this particular series. Say hi to my pal, Gitura Kamau.
Oh, GK.
Yeah, the GK.
Yeah.
It's 9 a.m. Time for the news.
Spice up your life